Have you ever tried to learn a new language and just ended up droning in a sea of flashcards? You know, feeling more frustrated than you are fluent? Well, if that sounds familiar, this one's for you. Today, we're going to look at a method that basically throws out all that rote memorization and instead focuses on what really matters, building genuine human connections. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the big why. Why learning a language is maybe more important than ever, especially with all the tech we have. Then, we'll dive into a whole new way to learn, and I'll tell you about the one big secret to picking up a language naturally. After that, we'll talk about where you fit in. And finally, we'll take a tour of the kind of classroom where all of this magic happens. Okay, let's start with the most basic question. We've all got instant translation right in our pockets, right? So why even bother learning another language? Well, the answer this framework gives us is pretty deep. It's not just about swapping words. It's about building bridges between people and, creating a more connected and understanding world.
This quote, man, it just gets right to the heart of it. It draws a really clear line in the sand. Sure, technology can translate words, but it can't create a connection. It can't build trust or show that deep respect that only comes when we actually try to see the world through someone else's language.
And this slide just lays it out so clearly. On one side, you've got the machine path. It's fast, it's literal, it's a simple transaction. But on the other side, that's the human path. It's winding, it's full of empathy, trust, and even real friendship. It's the difference between just swapping data and actually building a relationship. And this isn't just some nice idea. It has a real impact in the world. Just look at Japan and Australia. The source material points out that even though they had a history of conflict, they managed to build this incredibly strong friendship. And a huge piece of that puzzle? A national commitment to learning each other's languages. I mean, that's the kind of power we're talking about here. So, if that's the goal, this deep human connection, how in the world do we get there? Well, it means we need a totally new way to learn. We have to completely shift the foundation, get rid of those old, kind of broken methods, and build something brand new from the ground up. Which, of course, brings us to the real challenge, right? How do you actually create a classroom that does this? What does it even feel like to learn in this new way? Well, the first step is to just ditch what we already know doesn't work. We're saying goodbye to that stressful, frustrating world of memorizing vocabulary lists. Instead, this new way is all about copying how we learned our very first language, naturally, intuitively. It's not about forcing it, it's about acquiring it. And that leads us to the absolute core of this entire idea. The big secret, the secret sauce to learning a language naturally isn't about what you can say. It's not about forcing words out. It's all about what you take in. It all comes down to the power of something called input. And there's a specific term for it, comprehensible input. Now, this isn't just hearing or reading random stuff. It's language that you can mostly understand, even if you don't know every single word. Think about watching a TV show in another language with the subtitles on. You may not catch every little phrase, but you're following the story. That is comprehensible input. And that's the bedrock of this whole thing. I absolutely love this analogy. Your brain is like a garden. The comprehensible input, all that listening and reading, that's the water. Your only job is to just keep watering the seed. Then, you just give it time. Under the surface, your brain is doing all the hard work, building the connections. And then one day, without you even forcing it, the language just starts to emerge on its own, kind of like a little sprout pushing up through the soil. And here's a really crucial part. That sprout does not have to be perfect. This whole model embraces that idea. Your first attempts to speak might sound a little broken. And that's not just okay, it's totally expected. What matters is that the words are coming from a place of real understanding, not from some list you tried to memorize. Okay, so the teacher's job is to provide this constant stream of understandable input. But what's your role in all this? This isn't something where you can just sit back and absorb it all passively. No, you are a crucial partner in making this whole thing work. And your most important tool is incredibly simple. It's this gesture right here, making a T shape with your hands. It's a quiet, no-stress way to tell the teacher, hey, I'm lost. This one little gesture is so important because it guarantees that the input always stays understandable for you. So it really all boils down to 3 simple commitments you make. Number 1, use that signal the second you get confused. 2, ask a question to get clear, and it's totally okay to ask in English. And 3, this is the golden rule. Never, ever let something stay misunderstood.
You have to remember, your understanding is the fuel that makes this entire engine run. All right, we're at the final piece of the puzzle. We've talked about the philosophy, the main idea behind it. So now let's actually step inside the classroom. What does this learning environment really look and feel like when you put all these pieces together? Well, it's not just one single type of classroom. It's more like a dynamic ecosystem with 4 different zones. First, you have the stage, where the whole class is together and the teacher is kind of like the director guiding the action. Then, you break out into the workshop. This is a more collaborative space for small groups, where you can create things and ask questions. After that, it's time for the gym. That's where you work on your own, maybe online, to target areas where you need a little more practice. And finally, and this is so important, there's the oasis. This is a space for brain breaks, with music, games, and culture, so you can recharge before diving back in. And this all leads to maybe the most empowering idea of the whole thing. This isn't some rigid, top-down system that's forced on you. It's a flexible framework. It's really an open invitation for teachers and students to become partners in learning, to constantly create and improve the best method for you together. So that's the final thought I want to leave you with. What if the best way to learn isn't some perfect method that's set in stone, but it's actually something that we build together? Thinking about it that way, well, that changes everything.